Woo! What's going on, guys? Welcome to another edition of the Narik Chase channel. This your boy Narik Chase, and I'm going to be continue on my favorite Final Fantasy characters for episode 29 of the Streamline podcast. Now, I want you guys to be sure to stick around for the next episode of Streamline, episode 30, in which I will be talking about what I would like to see in Final Fantasy 16. But having said that, let's go ahead and continue on with the conversation of my favorite characters from the Final Fantasy series. Some of these I did kind of gloss over a little bit in the in my other video, but I'm going to go ahead and bring them back to this one. I'm going to start with two characters from Final Fantasy 13, which I got messed up and mixed around on. There is Snow and there is Hope. Neither one of these characters really appealed to me because Snow felt like an arrogant asshole, and then Hope felt like a useless dick. And their story did, by probably about halfway through the game, actually grew on me because of the story and the development arc between these two characters and how it does lead up to them eventually appreciating each other and liking each other in the end of the game. I actually did pretty much like these characters. I thought they were great. They had great strengths, they had great weaknesses, and I will give it to them. I can hate a character at the beginning, but if you're cool enough to bring me on over to the other side, you get a thumbs up. And the majority of the characters I end up liking at first, but not really having like the developing arc that makes me like them. I'm going to switch over to the Final Fantasy The Spirits Within movie. A lot of people didn't like the movie. I actually did like the movie, and I did do a book review on the movie, but I need to actually do the movie review. In fact, I need to do a movie review on all three movies. But having said that, I have one of my favorite characters in all the movies is Aki Ross. I think she's a very interesting character. She's smart. She's brave, if not a bit reckless. She's compassionate, and she has this great instinct about her character that makes me appreciate her. That makes her stick out more than the other characters in the Spirits Within movie. She is this scientist that's trying to figure out a way to stop the Phantom Menace. I ain't talking about Star Wars, but it's a good play on words. Phantoms, which are basically alien ghosts from wiping out humanity, and it's just I think she's a really good, likable character, and I could really get behind her. Also, on the other side of the fence is Gray, who is this commander of this SWAT Final Fantasy's version of the super soldiers, Spartans or something. I don't know. But they had a bit of romantic passion between the characters. And I think that even though Gray is kind of like a stereotypical, like, manly type leader character, I think he is an actual likable character, especially in his sacrifice at the end of the movie. So it just shows that he has a lot of depth to his character. I did like Neil. Neil brought a bit of humor to the cast, so I really appreciated him. I like Jane's character because I think Jane was kind of like the tough as nails character. And it even shows a bit of depth to her character when Neil's character dies, and then she kind of sacrifices herself because he's dead. So it does show you a bit. I did really like those characters. There's some other characters in the movie that I thought were okay, but these are the four I really liked the most. Now, in Final Fantasy X, I touched a couple of characters, but not all of them. I did like Titus. Especially his story, which was really sad, especially considering what happens at the end of the game, especially with the dysfunctional relationship he had with his dad, Jet, which Jet was an asshole, but throughout the story, you start to see reveal more and more about the character, and I actually like Jet too. Titus was really good, and I like his developing arc. Riku was a great, fun character. She reminded me... She's like that one nice, light, cool type character that's lighthearted, that's optimistic. She's like Eiko from Final Fantasy IX. She's like Yuffie from Final Fantasy VII. She's like Vanille from Final Fantasy 13. I really like her character. She definitely has a very useful youthful outlook, you know, very hopeful, youthful outlook. And I really appreciate that about her character. Also, you got Kamari, which is this lion thing from Final Fantasy X. He's a Ronzo. He's a pretty badass character too, and it's kind of cool because to us he's like badass, but to his own clan he's really not, because he's like the shortest one of his clan, and the other ones are like maybe a foot or two bigger than him. But he, as a Ronzo, he's a pretty cool character. He's like the Dragoon character, and I think his relationship with Yuna is what makes him such that which pronounces his personality, because he's like dead loyal to her, and I like that about his character, as well as many of the other characters, including even though I don't like Waka, I do appreciate his loyalty to Yuna. Yuna actually is a nice character. Yeah, she's like the really soft, almost damsel in distress type character, which Luna Freya from Final Fantasy 15 kind of was modeled as. And I don't like that aspect about Yuna, but she does do some extremely cool things in the game. So I really did appreciate her character too, and the story concerning her. I mean, her father ended up killing himself to stop sin for another decade, and then she's on this pilgrimage trying to take up the same mantle. So, and she knows that she's going to her death, and that just takes a lot of heart in my book. I really appreciate that, and I love the dynamic between her and Titus and how it develops over the course of the game. In fact, I think it's probably the most pronounced romantic story of any of the Final Fantasy games. So Titus, Yuna, you're both awesome. I like your characters. You're just completely badass. In Final Fantasy 9, you go back to Zidane's character. I like Zidane. The guy's awesome. He's smart. He's sarcastic. He's witty. You know, I love that. Yes, he's like this ladies' man. I honestly don't see how, but I mean, the guy's fun. I love that about his character, especially with Garnet, who has Dagger. Especially with Garnet's character, I love their little romance they have. I love the friendship he has with Vivi, which again makes Vivi's just an awesome character all around. One of my absolute favorite characters of 9. But Zidane is just a great character, especially it's the dynamic with his comrades that just makes him awesome. He likes to pick on Steiner. He likes to challenge Amaret. He's all like buddy with Freya. Freya is freaking awesome. I really wish the game would explore a little bit more of her character, but she's freaking fantastic as well. Quina, weird as hell, awesome ass character. I couldn't help the weirdness of the character that just makes it so memorable, and surprisingly deep too. There are some pretty good moments that are, even though not humorous, Quina has a lot of depth to the character, and I still can't tell if it's a boy or a girl. I think it's a dude, but I don't know. It's this weird moment between Quina and Vivian. You can't really tell if it's a boy or I don't know. But Quina is a favorite of mine. Eiko, again, like Vanille, like Riku, a great light amongst the group. She just brings such a great innocence, especially the little rivalry she has with Garnet over Zidane and everything. Just really cute. She's just awesome with the Moogles and stuff like that. She's just an awesome character. I like her. I like the humor that she brings. She brings a lot of great humor too, especially when she's kind of calling an adult stupid and stuff. It's just awesome. Just awesome character all around. I started to talk about Final Fantasy 15 characters, just beat the game, so we'll go ahead and just jump on them, because there are a couple characters I did like, even though the pool is very, 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 very slim, like Final Fantasy 13. I like Noctis. Noctis is the prince of is it Insomnia? I think he's the prince of Insomnia. He's a prince, and he's a likable character. He's kind of like a generic at first, but as the game goes on and you realize how much stuff he's lost. I mean, his dad got killed. He lost his kingdom. The girl of his dreams died. And it's like, all of this just makes the character very, like, you feel sorry for the guy. I mean, but he has a great personality too, especially. And this is just one thing I will give 15. The 4 main characters are just fan freaking tastic. I love the brotherhood, the camaraderie, the unity amongst the 4 characters. Noctis is great. Prompto is great. Gladios is great. Ignis is great. And they do feel a certain like stereotypical role where Noctis is kind of like the brooding prince. Then you got Gladios is kind of like the brute muscle, and then Ignis, the very serious smart guy. And Prompto is kind of the goofy one. But the story does, and their interactions also make it more than just that. Make it more than them just being these stereotypes. I really like these 4 characters in this game. And next to Arwin, what's this fool name? Arden, yes, Arden, whatever this guy's name was. Next to Arden, they are actually the most prominent. Of course, I mean the game basically is about them, all 4 of them being thing. But they are a great. They're just great in this game. I loved them. They were freaking fantastic, and I think they have the best dynamic of any characters, any character group in any of the Final Fantasies. I mean, I did appreciate 13s. I did like 7s, I did like 9s, and I did like 10s. So, but I think theirs a bit more solid as a group. I will give it that. Gentiana, very mysterious woman. I really did like her character because she was mysterious like that. And then you end up finding out that she is basically Shiva. So that makes her, it gives her another thumbs up in my book. I liked Iris. Iris is Gladios' sister. She's nice. She's welcoming. She reminds me of Riku, and I love that about her character. And she has like this great dynamic with the character, with these 4 guys. She's just a great, fun person to be around. I really appreciate that about her character, and would have definitely liked to see more done with her character. You have Cindy, who is a mechanic, and for fans of the Final Fantasy series, there's in almost every game there's a man named Sid. Cindy is Sin's granddaughter. Sid's in the game too. Actually, like both of the characters, Sid does a great job of giving some really good backstory, a really good backstory, side story, if you would say, that does a great job of help finishing out the main story of the Final Fantasy 15 game, especially concerning Sid and Noctis' father, Regis, which I like Regis' character too, even though he didn't really get no shine in the game whatsoever, but he was better in the movie. He got more screen time in the movie. But I think he was a really good character, and he is what you would think a king probably would be. So he's a great, awesome character, especially he's completely badass too. I like Cindy too. Yes, Cindy is eye candy. She's dressing around in these like skimpy outfits as a mechanic, and she has that little southern accent to her. But I really like her character. I like the personality. I like how she gets along with the 4 characters as well. Would have liked to see more to her as far as backstory goes, but she's a great character and one of the cool supporting characters in the Final Fantasy 15 game. I will say Arania Highwind. I think that's how you spell it. Say it. Arania Highwind. She is definitely one of my favorite characters from 15. She was completely badass. She was sexy. She was mysterious. The problem is the game doesn't get too much on her. She don't get enough shine, but she is a great character to play, to have on your team. She's just badass in so many aspects. She's definitely one of those obscure characters. Like if they had a DLC for Final Fantasy 15 concerning her character, giving her a bit more of a prominent role, I would be all for it. Especially when there's certain times you could be fighting enemy and then she just pops up and helps you out. So, and she's part of the team in one of the missions, and she's just great. Love her character. One of the most memorable characters in Final Fantasy 15, despite not having enough presence, like as she should. But she is a great badass warrior. So don't get me wrong. And as a Dragoon too, all up jumping way up into the air and then coming out with them badass attacks. I loved her character for that. Now I'm going to jump into the movie a little bit too, because there was certain I didn't like the movie when I first saw it. Went back and watched it again. Oh, okay, the movie's pretty cool, because I familiarized myself with the lore a little bit more, so I understood it a little bit better. Nick Ulrich, it's a crying shame he gets no mention in the game, but as in the movie concerned, he is freaking awesome. Dude was completely badass. Would have definitely liked to see a bit more of his character in the game. Too bad he died in the freaking movie. But dude was extremely badass. You can show that the movie even shows that dedication, that cool guy attitude, that he's confident too. He literally has the most awesome sequences in the freaking movie. I mean, the guy's just completely badass. He's kind of generic in a way, but I love his character. I love that he went out his way, despite feeling some type of way about everything that was going on. But he was a great character, and even though he did die, it was a great send-out to an awesome, badass character. Luna Freya, I did not like in the game. I hated her in the game because they didn't give her the proper due that she needed, that was required of her. However, I will say I really enjoyed the character in the movie. She had more presence to her character. She was more decisive. She didn't feel completely like she was wasted character. You know what I mean? She like, what was the one sequence where she jumped out the flying jet? Yeah, she jumped out the flying jet, which was crashing. Why she was like, it was like, you don't even know if you're going to make that jump. But she did it when she ran up that little railing when that stupid octopus thing was attacking them, and then jumped in the ship. Like, that takes initiative. I like that about her in the movie. She took a stand. She didn't feel like a princess. I mean, I could say this. In the game, she felt like a helpless princess. In the movie, she felt like a queen because she was assertive and she was doing stuff. I like that. I liked her in the movie. Just didn't like her too much in the game. But it's mostly because developers decided to cut whatever they did of her character out of the damn game. But hey, that's the way things are. And I will say another character I would have liked to see in Final Fantasy 15 was Glauca. The big armored dude, who they ended up finding out was the Kingsglave's captain. I would have liked to seen his character actually, and I heard another YouTuber, two YouTubers discuss this, and I agree with them. They said Nick shouldn't have killed Glauca, but oh, I got a little, sorry, I got a message right here. I'm sorry about that. I wish that Nyx would have probably wounded Glauca, whatever, General Glauca, whatever the freaking guy's name was. But at the same time, I think that, you know, Nyx should have wounded him and then died or whatever. And then Noctis would take up the reins of killing Glauca, whatever this freaking guy's name is. So that way, when it'll be a story in the game, you know what I mean? You killed my father, Glauca, and even though Nyx didn't take you down, I'm going to take you down. Like, that would have been a good plot point. I think that would have served the game a bit better when it comes to the whenever it comes to the actual story. And I'm messing up because I'm typing. But forgive me, guys, for that. But I think that would have been a great. I think that would have actually been a really good plot point, because think about it, Glauca was one of the, if not the most menacing character in the movie, and it would have been nice to actually see that character be in the game, especially his abilities with the armor. He can jump places really fast, and dude was like non-vulnerable. You know what I'm saying? Especially cause when the fight with between him and Ulrich during the big climactic battle at the end, I think he would have been a great addition to the actual character roster of the Final Fantasy 15. I actually like the guy because the guy was just badass. Yes, he didn't really have too much personality, but like when I get my ratings on the villains and stuff, either have personality or you're badass. He was straight up badass. And I guess the last two characters I have on my list right now, until I can play some more Final Fantasy games and get a better hook on the characters, are and Jill and Genesis from the Crisis Core. I would say Zach, Fair, and Sephiroth, but I already talked about them. Love both of those characters. I like Angeal because Angeal was wise, and you can see the blueprint of Zach in him and all that stuff. And I just like that, like especially the dynamic between Sephiroth, Genesis, and Angeal. They each again fit something of a different stereotype, but I did love the characters, especially Genesis. Genesis was a badass, jealous of Sephiroth, and he was trying to outclass him and everything. And I really appreciate that. And like I said, even though they didn't get the biggest of stories, I really did like those characters, especially in the game. But anyway, I'm stop rambling. I gave you guys 2 videos of my favorite characters from the Final Fantasy, both the games and the movies. So in the comment section below, guys, let me know who are your favorite characters. Did you agree with any of mine? As well as remember, Tuesdays and Thursdays, stay tuned because we'll be putting up more videos every Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm messing up. I don't even know what it is. But remember also to hit that like, share, subscribe, and that notification button to get the best of what the hell is going on this channel. And to catch you guys later. Next video, Narik signing out.